The banning of books has been a very notable topic of late, with constant attempts in the United States, notably the South, notably Florida, to ban books pertaining to LGBTQ issues and race issues. But is this just a recent thing? How long have we been banning books? And most importantly, why? Also, in the description box, I've linked Project Gutenberg, which is a huge internet archive of books. It's like a giant online library that will allow anyone, regardless of location and schooling restrictions, to read any book that they have archived. It's a fantastic tool, I cannot recommend it highly enough, and I need more people to know about it. Please check them out. And if you can donate to them, please do. It is a fantastic, fantastic cause. I'm Isaac, and this is book banning, and its place in the modern world. Book banning's actually been around for thousands of years. The Greek philosopher Plato was actually really fond of the idea. He proposed that certain literature which would corrupt the youth would be prohibited, and it sounds not too dissimilar from what we see now. People don't really change. Around the same period in ancient China, books were also banned for political reasons. And then jumping forwards, in medieval Europe, books and texts that were considered anti-religion, or more so anti-Christian, were burned by the church. One of the most famous and tragic examples of book burning is the burning of the Library of Alexandria. Alexandria in Egypt was home to the world's largest library. It housed between 200,000 and 700,000 books, scrolls, and tomes. It was destroyed in 2 foul swoops. It was first destroyed apparently as an accident by Julius Caesar when he set fire to an Egyptian fleet of ships in 48 BCE. The fire then spread from the ships to the city, and part of the library was destroyed. Julius Caesar says that this was an accident and that he was never intending to burn the library, but he was also very good at making himself seem like the good guy, so take that with a grain of salt. The second attack on the library, however, was deliberate, and I'm sure that if the library were around today, then some people of the same group would probably want to burn it today. In 391 CE, Roman Emperor Theodosius declared that Christianity, yep, those guys again, was the only legal religion of Rome, and ordered that all pagan temples, which the Library of Alexandria included, be destroyed. With this action, one of the largest collections of books and recorded history in the world was destroyed forever. There are claims that this act of burning the Library of Alexandria set back mankind by 1,000 years. This claim is a bit ludicrous, and debunking is beyond the scope of this channel, so we're not going to go into why that's false, but many books were destroyed forever, only leaving their knowledge in the wisps of smoke that arose from their ashes. It's a great shame that it's gone. We'll never know what those books held. The history of book burning continued over many centuries. Every time someone invaded a nation with different beliefs to that of their own, the invaders destroyed their temples and their texts. The Knights Templar were very good at this, and the Crusades destroyed thousands of texts and tomes as they made their way through the Middle East, with again, many books being lost forever in the ashes of war. We're going to jump forwards a bit in history, moving a bit closer to home to the majority of the audience watching, or definitely the audience of my other channel. In 1859 to 1860, pro-slavery Southerners burned books in Mississippi, South Carolina, and Texas that were critical of slavery, or not sufficiently supportive of it. These books were seen as anti-Southern, and were thus banned, and many burned. Jumping across the world, during the build-up to World War II, my favourite period of history, or modern history at least, it's super interesting, but there was one particular group of people that were really good at burning books. I'm not going to say their name on here, because I don't want to get demonetized at some point, and my German isn't also amazing, but, you know, the guys that walked around wearing brown shirts and red armbands. That party banned and burned hundreds of thousands of books written by Jewish authors, or any books that they thought were counter to the Party's ideals. On the 8th of April 1933, the German Student Union declared a nationwide action against the un-German spirit, which led to a literary cleansing by burning any books that were considered anti-German. The first large book burning occurred on an attack on the Institut für Sexualwissenschaft, or the Institute of Sex Research. Its library was home to around 20,000 books on intersexuality, homosexuality, and transgender topics. These were all taken out into the street and burned, in plain sight of everyone. The National Workers' Party continued these intellectual acts of terror all throughout the life of the Third Reich, and destroyed books deemed un-German in every country that they invaded. Jumping back to the United States, one of the most famous cases of book banning, in the US at least, was Lady Chatterley's Lover by D.H. Lawrence in 1959. The book was deemed to be obscene and full of sexual content, again, using those words. The ban was lifted in under a year thanks to a long legal battle, and the book became available all over the country. I can't recommend the book as I've not read it, but if you have, I'd really love to know your thoughts on it in the comments, and please let all of us know how lewd it is. I'm sure that looking at it from today's perspective, when you've got books like 50 Shades of Grey out, and whatever I read on Tumblr, don't ask, I'm sure that it's considered very tame. Please let me know what you think. Then, later on, in 1970, a book that is the bane of existence for pretty much all of my other channel viewers, or my podcast's viewers, The Catcher in the Rye was banned for its language and sexual references. And that book I have read, and I can tell you, it's not bad. It's just that the past was really conservative. The main character just says the word damn a lot, and he did try to solicit a sex worker, but there's no explicit content in the book, it's just the past was super conservative. Alright, we're going to now get into the meat of it. We've had the history, it's time for the impacts of book banning on society. It's a very complex subject, and, you know, you could have hours and hours of debate. I'm sure that there are courses that you could take at your universities, if you're going to university, that would take an entire semester to even talk about this in enough depth. But we're here on YouTube, so I'm going to give a very surface level look, and I'm also going to give my opinion, because it's my channel and I can do what I want. If you don't like it, stop watching, I don't care. The arguments for book banning. On one hand, book burning can be seen as a way to protect certain values and beliefs from being undermined by controversial or counterproductive ideas. On the other hand, book banning can be seen as a way to limit intellectual freedoms and freedom of speech, which is in direct opposition to Articles 18 and 19 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and many countries' constitutions, like the First Amendment of the United States Constitution, to protect the freedom of speech. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble to petition the government for a redress of grievances. It is right there, in black and white, and yet politicians are trying their very hardest to get rid of books that they dislike. Now, the ongoing debate surrounding book banning and censorship is around the question of whether it's a legitimate practice. Again, not going all the way into the weeds for this, staying on the surface pretty much. Those who support book banning argue that it's necessary to protect certain values and beliefs, and that it's a form of self-defense against ideas that are harmful or dangerous. They argue that book banning is not a violation of freedom of expression, but a way to balance the right to express ideas with the need to protect certain values. Meaning, in my interpretation, that books are fine to ban as long as it's their books, and not mine. If he were around today, I think George Orwell would agree if I likened this to all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. How on earth people hold this idea, I don't know, but again, I'm just presenting you the information, not trying to change the mind of governments and politicians. But if any are watching, don't be stupid. Those that oppose book banning argue that it's a form of censorship that limits freedom of speech and expression. These people argue that the best way to deal with controversial ideas, or ideas that oppose your own, is to debate and engage with them. Open a dialogue and find out why people really want the books gone. These people also argue that book banning is often motivated by political or ideological reasons, rather than a genuine concern for values or beliefs. They state that book banning could maybe be seen as a way to protect values, but also that by banning books you don't like, you're actively taking books away from people who disagree with you, and are thus allowing people only to read one side of the story. Now what I think, because again, it's my YouTube channel, so I'm going to give my opinion to make it more fun. Banning books because you disagree with what they say is f***ing ridiculous. Believing that your opinions are right and that someone else's are wrong is perfectly fine. You're entitled to your opinions. But I'm entitled to mine. If you believe, however, that my opinions shouldn't be heard because they disagree with your own opinions, then you are a I have no clue how we can be seen as a sophisticated society if we're still fighting over such trivial stuff. But this book offends me, you say. Why don't you read it? It isn't hard, don't read the books. The books that you're trying to ban contain information that could help people discover who they really are, process grief, or allow people to empathize with a group of people they previously had no exposure to. It's insane that this is actually something people believe in. I truly believe that anyone who wants to ban a book should forfeit the right to run for a political position. By wanting to ban a book, you're stating to the whole world that you refuse to listen to the other side. It is an absolutely ridiculous thing to do. To conclude, book banning has had a long and complex history that dates back thousands of years. While some argue that it's necessary to protect certain values and beliefs, others see it as a form of censorship that limits freedom of speech and expression. The ongoing debate surrounding book banning highlights the importance of intellectual freedom, which you can find in books, and the need to balance the right to express ideas with the need to protect certain values. As long as your values aren't racist or homophobic or transphobic. I'm very glad that I'm recording this video during Pride Month. Honestly, the best course of action is to debate and engage with controversial ideas rather than censoring them. Show all the sides of an argument, not just the one that fits your belief. But again, if your opinions are attacks on other people's right to express themselves, or their right to believe something that you don't, then you can go back to the cave that you woke up in. Thank you so very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then please subscribe, as I release a new video each week. Thank you again, and until next time, bye-bye.